Hello everybody and welcome back to Herbie's Garage. Today I'm working on my Lifan KPM 200 and I'm going to be changing the hand grips on it because I've been wanting to put these on some motorcycle, and the ones on this one are really kind of hard. I never did really care for them a whole lot, and these are soft, so I'm going to be putting these on. These are made in USA. These are good grips and I've never had them before, but I want to try them. So I'm going to be doing that today, and I'm also going to be lubricating and adjusting my throttle and my clutch cables. I've done a video similar to this on my KPX, but there are some differences on the KPM, so I thought I'd go ahead and do a video on this one too. I got to get it ready for riding season. It's just about here, and I want to get this stuff done. So come on along and let's do this. First thing I want to do is I want to take off this bar end mirror. This is a 6mm hex. Just has one bolt and the mirror comes off. Now we're going to take the cable out of it so that we can lubricate the slide and clean it and all that, because I do have a little bit of a sticky throttle. It's not bad, but it's just a little bit, and I'm going to take care of that. There's 2 screws holding this on. There's one. And there's 2. The long one goes into the front. And we'll peel this open. Now you'll see that this cable is attached right here, and we got to disconnect that cable. First thing I want to do is I want to loosen my adjustment all the way. So I'm going to run this all the way in, give myself plenty of slack, and then my cable should come out pretty easily. Yeah, see, I've still got grease on that, but that grease is getting dark and a little bit sticky. I'm going to use something different this time. I'm going to clean this off. A little WD-40. We want to make sure that this is good and slick as possible. So we got to get all the gunk off of it. I'm going to spray a little bit inside here too and clean this out. Shove it all the way through. Clean it out real good. Yeah, it looks pretty good. I buy some of these dish towels, dish rags. Sometimes it's a little bit cheaper than the rags that you buy to work on your bike. So, and they work good. I think a whole pack of 12 or 18 of these were like $4 or $5. So they come in handy. Okay, we're gonna clean this all out inside here. Make sure this is all clean. There's a piece right here you gotta be careful of. This piece right here, see if I can show you. This piece right here just snaps in and it holds that wire down right there, and the holes have to line up. This piece could be a little bit tricky, so just kind of keep an eye on that. You can remove this cable from the housing, and we're going to do that by removing this one screw. Take that screw out. We'll pull the cable out. Now we can access this cable to be able to put a little bit of lube in it. We'll pull this rubber up and we'll expose the hole there. Okay, now we'll pull this rubber up. As you can see, it's got a pretty good size hole there in order for this lube to get down into. So we're just going to wrap it with a towel, some kind of cloth. So we know we're going to miss a little bit. And we're going to shove a little bit of lube in there. Work that cable up and down. A little bit more in there. And just keep doing this process several times to get that lube worked down inside the hole, down through the cable. Okay, I'm going to give it one more good squirt. Work it in, and that should be good. Okay. Now we'll put our rubber cap back on the end, like that, to keep all the dirt and contaminants out of it. Okay, now that we got our cable lubed up, we'll put it back in the housing, put our screw in it. If it looks like I'm shaking a little bit, I probably am. I haven't had my iced tea yet today. If there's one vice I have, it's the iced tea. I gotta have my caffeine in the morning, and this is in the morning, and I haven't had my tea yet. Okay. Now, what we're gonna do, we're gonna grab our tube that we have cleaned up. And we're going to put a little bit down inside of here where our tube runs up and down, or it slides inside of. This part right here will be running inside of that. So I'll put a little bit on here too, not much. Just want to get a little bit in it. Then I'm going to put a little bit inside of the grip, a little bit on here as well, make a little bit of a mess, but get it well lubricated on there, and we'll slide that on. I'm not too worried about getting the grips all messed up because I'm replacing those. Okay, now whenever you get ready to put your cable into your tube, you got to make sure that your barrel fits into your opening, and then the cable goes down this trough there. And this plastic piece, you got to make sure it's lined up and pushed down in there. Your wires coming out of the front like that. And then We're just going to put our barrel in the hole, line up our cable like that, and you got to make sure you're turning it this way like you're revving the throttle. You don't want to go the opposite way when you put this in because it's going to be wrong. And you got to make sure your wire's coming out of the front right here, and you got to hold everything, and then there's a locator pin in the front, and you got to slide that up till that locator pin drops in like that. Now you're good to go. Now you can put your screws back in it. And like we said, the long one goes in the front. And then this shorter one goes back here in the back. I gotta make sure that nothing turns, that it's on there correctly. And then I'm gonna finish tightening this with a screwdriver. I don't want to get it too tight with the power tool. There we go, that should be good. All right, let me clean my mess up. I got it lubricated good and well, that's for sure. It's already working better. Oh yeah, that's working a lot better. That's what it needed. That grease was getting a little bit sticky. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to take that slack out of it. I want to leave this adjustment all the way forward, and then we're going to go down the engine to make the big adjustment. Okay, right here is an easy adjustment for this. On this right here, there's an adjustment down here too, but this one here we could probably get most of our adjustment out of it. So we're going to take our 10 millimeter and hold the nut. Well, I think it's a 10. Yeah, it's a 10. And then our 8 millimeter, we're going to break that loose, and then we're going to screw that out until it feels like, I'm going to be moving the throttle until it feels like most of that slack is out of it. That feels like that's most of it right there. And then we're going to tighten this back up. Snug that down, bring the rubber back down. And you have to remove this plastic panel in order to get to this. I just didn't have my panel on, so I could do this job, make it a little bit quicker. All right, now I'm going to check it. It has just a tiny bit too much, so I'm going to move it out just a little bit. Oh yeah, that's perfect right there. Then I'll run the jam nut out to it, like that. Perfect. Okay, that's good. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take these grips off. There's several ways to do this, but this is always the easiest way if you don't want to save your grips, which I'm not going to put these back on because these are a little bit stiff for me. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these off. Yeah, those are glued on pretty good. Usually it just kind of come right off. Woo, them are on there. There. It's got ribs on there that kind of help hold it on, so that's kind of nice. Okay, here's my new grips. Like I said, they're made in the USA. These are not really meant for a bar end mirror, so I'm going to have to adapt these a little bit. Let me get them out of the package. Now I'll show you, when you get grips, you have one a little bigger than the other. See this? This is the 1 inch, this is 3/4 or 7/8. This is 7/8, this is 1 inch I meant. And the 1 inch goes on the throttle side. The bigger one goes on the throttle side. And these are easy to put on, but I need to cut the end off of it. As you can see, it's got a line from the factory across here, and I just centered it going this way, so I know that that's the center, and that's where I'm going to start cutting. Well, it ain't so pretty, but once it's on there, I think, and the bar end mirror's on there, I don't think you'll see it. Okay, and the way I like to mount these, you can use all different kinds of things, but I use my wife's extra hold hairspray. I've been doing this for years and it works real well. I'll put a little bit inside. You got to make sure you get any glue, any hairspray, whatever you're putting it on with, off here, because you don't want it rubbing on there. And then I'm just going to slide it on. Like that. Perfect. Now there's a little bit of a gap between this and the housing, and that's what you want. You don't want it dragging on it. I think that'll be fine. Okay, then I'll put my bar end mirror back on. And we'll tighten her down. There we go. See if it still works good, and it does. Oh, those grips feel so much better. Whew. Okay, let's go to the other side. Okay, on the clutch side, we're just going to go ahead and take our mirror off of it. And then we're going to get ready to, I think this adjustment is perfect here. I don't think we have to make any adjustment down there. Well, we're going to go ahead and take this off and clean this pin. And I'm going to show you how to adjust this pin to where you have the proper tension on it whenever you put it back in. You got to make sure your pin's good and clean. That one had a little bit of grease still left on it. All right, now that the pin's out of it, let's go ahead and loosen this adjustment. We'll run it all the way in. Make it a little easier to get the cable out. And then you got to line up the slot in this with the slot in that, and then your cable will just come out of those slots like so, and then you just pull it and it comes out. And then down here you just turn it and let that come out of the handle. Okay, just like on the other side, we're going to put a little bit of a lube down in here. We're going to wrap a rag around it. And just keep working the cable as you're spraying it. That way it'll work its way down. Okay, now to put this back in, we're going to clean this off. And then we're going to put a little bit of lube on this lever because this is going to slide inside of that housing. We want it to slide freely. So we're putting some lube all around this part. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to put this barrel in the hole, line it up like so, and once you got your cable in your handle, you want to line up the cable in this slot again, like you did when you took it out. It has to be lined up with both slots. Like that, and with the slot in the housing. And then it should just fall into place. Make sure that cable's all the way in like that and seated. Now we're going to put the pin in. And we're going to take our pin and we're going to put some lube on the pin as well. Make sure it's worked in real good. And then we're going to drop the pin in and screw it down. And once you screw this down, just snug it like that. Don't crank on it. Just snug it like that. And that's as far as you want to go. And then down at the bottom, this has a lock nut. You can see it has a locking agent down at the bottom of this nut. And then this is kind of a washer nut. So the washer goes up like that and it locks onto the bolt. The reason they put a lock nut on there is they don't want you smashing this down, because if you smash this down and tighten this too much, it makes the lever hard to pull, and you don't want that. Okay, now once you get the nut on, hold the top and tighten the nut. And again, you don't want to smash this nut extremely hard, but you want it set to where it's locked and not going to come loose. And then clean your work area up. And then we'll try it. Oh, it's got too much play. So we're going to take our play out. We're going to back this out and take some play out of it. Go just a little more. You want about a quarter of an inch, an eighth to a quarter of an inch gap right here. Rule of thumb they used to always tell me is if you can stick your pinky, tip of your pinky in there, then that's sufficient. And my tip of my pinky will go in until it bottoms out. And that's about perfect. So now we'll go ahead and lock the lock nut on it, the jam nut. Wipe it off once more, and we'll bring the rubber up. And we're done with that. Works beautiful. Now I'm going to take this grip off. Well, that came off a lot easier. Now, since this grip doesn't move, all I really need to do is put a small hole in it so that the bolt will go through. That's all I really need on this one. I just used my knife and cut a small hole in it, enough for the bolt to go through. All right, so now we'll put a little bit of hairspray on it. a little bit inside the tube of the grip. It doesn't really matter if you get any on the outside on this one, because this one doesn't turn, like I said. I want to make sure that our name is up, which I did on the other side as well. All right, that looks pretty good. I'll put my mirror back on. If you have too much up there on your adjustment for your clutch and you need to take some out down here, it's super easy on the KPM. You can just loosen these two nuts, and if you've got too much slack, you can tighten this one, which pulls the cable that way. Or if you got it's too tight up there and you have to loosen it, then you can tighten this nut and bring it this way. But mine's perfect the way that it is, but I just wanted to show you that this is where the adjustment is at for the clutch, for the major adjustment. The last thing we have to do is check our work. So we need to start it up. Then we need to make sure we can go stop to stop without it raising the RPM. Because if it raises the RPM, we got our adjustment too tight on our throttle. Mine's perfect. It's not raising the RPM at all. Next thing we need to do is check the clutch. We'll pull it in, hit the gear shifter. It's in first gear. Starts letting out about halfway. That's perfect. Goes into neutral really easy. So I think we're good. That was a pretty easy thing to do. The KPM is pretty easy to work on. The throttle housing was a little bit of a challenge because you've got several parts trying to go in together at the same time. You got to get everything lined up and into the locator pin. It's not super difficult, but it takes a little bit of patience to get everything lined up so everything goes together correctly. And the adjustments are super easy. I showed you everything. These new grips, man, they feel great. I wished I would have ordered them without a flange on them so that I didn't have to cut the end of it, because I kind of cobbled that a little bit. The next time, if I get another set, I will get one, excuse me, without the flange on it, on the end. That way I could just slide them on, I don't have to do any cutting or anything like that. But with the bar end mirrors on, you can't really see my cobbled up job. And boy, they look good and they feel good. They're good and soft. So I look forward to riding. It's riding season now, and I can't wait to get out. And I'm ready to go. Hopefully the video was helpful to you. It's not a hard thing to do, but it's a necessary maintenance item that needs to be done. And changing grips, super easy on most bikes. It's a little bit more difficult with the bar end mirrors, but it's not hard, especially if you get the right grips. But I wanted to try these, and they work well. So anyway, that's all I have for you today. I appreciate you all coming along, and I'll see you on the next one.